so they're discriminated against heavily. It's a theocracy, basically. Ireland's a theocracy. But it was nice back in the day when I lived there in 1960, 66, 67, yeah, in that range. It was pretty cool. I remember, I have really good memories. I mean, the old cabs that they had. I remember my dad actually bought one for a period there. Bought a sailboat in Sussex, I believe it was, Essex, something. We fixed it up, and it was pretty cool. I had a good time in England. But the Isle of Wight is beautiful. It's coast everywhere, and back then it was still good. My dad was completely disgruntled with the American system. He wrote a radical book called Apple Pie back then, and sold millions of copies purportedly. He was on a TV talk show back then, which was a big deal back in that day, going back to 1966 again. And the book was mysteriously yanked off the shelves. I don't know what he did, if he talked about some things that might have been privy to. He did say some things about the J. Edgar Hoover and the cross-dressing and all that. So you never know how a book like that gets pulled. But they've been doing censoring in America for quite some time. When it went against their geopolitical agenda. And again, it all has to do with this Federal Reserve. Remember, they're the ones I believe were behind the JFK thing. So we had a coup. It's as simple as that. It's a mess. But my dad was pissed off. He was pissed off about the Vietnam War. He was pissed off about the assassination of JFK. And believe me, in 1968, when Martin Luther King Jr. was killed, he was none too happy about that either. But he was a big fan of JFK and Martin Luther King Jr. So isolationism. A family, do they isolate when they lock their doors at night to their homes? Okay. Even if they live separately, you've got extended family. Everybody's living in separate houses. But wouldn't you encourage them as the patriarch or the matriarch of the family? Yeah, lock your door at night, honey. Sickos will try to creep into your house. Home invasions and all this crap. So yeah, you got great grandchildren, great great grandchildren. You're gonna all tell them you're not isolationist if you say to live by this credo. Although people would say, "Oh no, you are. You don't have open borders." Although the Vatican has the highest walls in the world, but the Pope's gonna say you're bad for thinking that you should have immigration rules and regulations to protect your people. Oh no, you're protectionist of your people. You can't have that. Can't have tariffs and penalize other people. That's not free trade. Do you see what I mean? Everything is just all discombobulated intentionally. Okay, they don't want people to see straight. They don't want you out of Babylon. They want you further and further in Babylon. Stay in confusion. Although you have the knowledge of the ages at your fingertips and all the accompanying empowerment that comes with that knowledge, no, no, no. It's easier just to bury your head in the sand. Ignorance is bliss. Just, go the way we tell you to go. This is the way. Just focus on your own numbers, get into the stock market, and get a good career, and just make a lot of numbers, okay? So you're okay. And just let the poor devour the poor, okay? Let the weak eat each other up, because that's what it's going to come down to. For survival, as we make people poor and poor, poor, and pour the rug out from under them, we'll take away the welfare and we'll put the cart before the horse. So we're not going to fix the social economic problems. We're just going to say, well, we're going to cut the budget here, and this is it. We're going to let more and more people fall through the social economic cracks and say they're the problem, they're the cause because they're stupid or they're lazy or they're on drugs and they made their bed, now let them lay in it. And if they're so unmotivated that they have to die out in the cold, then so be it. Social Darwinian economics, nothing we can do. This is just the way of the world, and it's good for the climate because they don't have a carbon footprint once they're dead, okay? So this is where we're going with all this stuff. Georgia Guidestones, this is where it leads. This is what they're lulling us into, this kind of, this sleep. Be indifferent. Be complacent. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Stupidity is bliss. Confusion is bliss. Okay, stupidity is bliss. This is what they want you all to believe. And I'm trying to tell you, don't do that. turn to God and accept the wisdom and accept the accompanying empowerment and give it to others. Understand that your welfare is entwined in your fellow human beings' welfare. You've got to give a damn. You've got to love. If you don't, you're going to hell. Okay, that's it. I'm here to warn you because I don't want your blood on my hand or on my head, whatever. The next best thing to overcoming the evildoers is exposing the evildoers. Elitism is not only un-American, elitism is ungodly. If you're on the side of humanity, that is all humanity, you're on the right side of history. If we position, I was talking about this, you put your thumb just right and you can block out the sun. Well, it's the same thing with blind spots, and that's what I try to do, because I'm not correcting people to be arrogant, say I'm smarter than you. I'm just saying, I'm trying to help people understand where they're tripping up. Because they're trained. I understand. We've all been trained from birth, inculcated from birth, indoctrinated, conditioned, programmed. This is instilled with this confusion from birth. This is this thick veil, these muddied, bloodied waters that we're all been subjected to and foisted into this realm that we're told is the way it is. Okay, this is just your reality. Just accept it. Just go along with it. Well, I'm saying no. I'm saying question it. And understand these people, the nature of these monsters that are doing this to us. They're evil and they're going to hell. If they don't repent, I guarantee they're going to hell. And remember, it's a one-on-one thing. You cannot say, because this guy said this. You can't say to God, because this group of people said this and I bought their lie. No, it's not going to fly. You're going to stand one-on-one. You're going to answer for your own philosophies, your own belief system. And remember, those are powerful because people kill and die for their belief systems. So this is serious stuff, this business of salvation and where we go from here. Be on the right side. Don't be ungodly. So those blind spots, anybody that's trying to help you come out of them, question their motive, fine. Be skeptical, fine. If you think they're trying to talk over your head or look down on you, that they've got some ulterior motive, fine, question it. But if you discover that, no, indeed, these people are real, like myself, and they're really out for you, then respect what they say. Prescribe to it, and embrace it, and adopt it, and then go out and proliferate it by helping other people to come out of darkness and to expose where they might have blind spots, where they're blocking out the sun, okay, by not understanding the nature of Satan and the nature of money and the nature of these evil people that are ruling over humanity, how they're doing it, okay, arbitrary policies and crap that they invent, that they are above. They're exempted from this idea of paying bail, where if you got enough money, yeah, you can speed all you want. Yeah, until they put you in jail, they'll take your license away eventually, but you can just keep on, hey, so what? You know what? You don't even need to show a license. You can get a fake license, right? Every time you go buy a new car, if you got enough money, you could get away with anything. People get away with murder all the time. You hire a good enough attorney, they're pretty good. They can find a way, usually get you off murder. But if you don't, fat chance. Okay, and you might even get indicted for something that you didn't do. This is another huge problem with capital punishment. Is that getting the wrong guy? That blood's not on my hands or my head, but it's on yours if you believe in capital punishment. Right? I'm just saying. We all have to stand. Remember, one-on-one. We're not going to say, because this guy said, or that guy said, or this group of people said, that said, I read it in this book or that book. No. God's going to hold each accountable for our belief systems, what we have embraced and adopted, and what we have discarded, okay, for your values. Ultimately, it comes down to values. Are your values in line with God's? Are you on the same page? Do you see through divine eyes? Okay, God's perspective of things, his perception. If you did, you'd value your fellow human being above all else, including the least of men, like Jesus said. So when you ignore the desperately poor out there, you're ignoring Jesus. If those aren't the least of men, I don't know who they are. Remember, every time I say men, I'm talking about women. God is male and female. Okay, that's mankind, humankind, womankind. That's it. That's what we are. Man and woman. Lucre defined. 1, money. 2, the God of this world system. 3, what gives Satan his power? Remember, if Trump's for real, he's up against a monster establishment. Give the man a chance, understanding the lag period involved. And I went into quite a bit of depth trying to explain that. But it's just like anything. It's like trying to turn a train around. It doesn't happen all at once, okay? It's a ginger process. And you've got to be pretty shrewd, okay? And that means really the original meaning of shrewd was evil, but today we just think of being astute, right? You're sharp, you're smart, you're acting prudently, and that's what Donald Trump has to do. Because if he's for real, then we're going to start seeing poverty dry up as your currency is worth more. We're going to see the debt paid down, okay? We're going to see sound economic policy. Relative to the New World Order takeover, regarding control of our nation is the grassroots level. Okay, right. If we understand that the New World Order is at the very top, okay, so we say, well, we can't get to these people. These are the untouchables. They're the ones that are too big to fail. They're too big to jail, right? So relative to these clowns, then the national power, throne of power, is the grassroots level. So that's why I say don't blame law enforcement. Don't blame the local, small fry politicians, okay? They can't fix the problems. Yeah, you can bring them to their attention, and then they can be empowered with the truth too, but ultimately you need to empower them with the truth. That they need to blame in the chain of command the next higher up politician until we get to the bottom of it. And the bottom of it is these top high-ranking politicians that do the legitimizing of the policy of the Federal Reserve. That's it. That's where it is. So that's grassroots. That's why I say grassroots is the national level. I don't go to city council meetings. I don't want to be in there and get into, the excruciating minutia of local codes and policies and all this crap. I don't blame them. Okay? We got charities set up and all this crap. We got the government. Who is the government? Remember, it's a very subjective term. Spending $50 billion a year to prevent homelessness, right? When you subsidize people's housing costs, that's what you're doing. You're trying to prevent homelessness. Because if they can't afford their rent, they will be homeless. And the problem keeps getting worse. So am I radical to say it's utterly failed? A boondoggle for the taxpayers and a bonanza for those that benefit, the beneficiaries of that boondoggle? No, I'm being honest and pragmatic. So I'm very conservative when it comes to fiscal policy. Very conservative. And I'm also very liberal when it comes to liberty and freedom and justice in America, equality. Okay? The right to pursue happiness. That's what I'm doing here. The right to pursue happiness is to be part of the conversation. And I will pay, and I do pay to be part of the conversation. I want to be, and nothing can stop me. I love it. I really love it. I really love to feel like I am really helping people to get it. Because at the end of the day, that's it. Basically, you just get it. I get it. Suddenly, the veil is lifted. The scales from your eyes are lifted. And you go, I get it. My blind spots are gone now. I understand what's been tripping me up. But I'm for equality. Prove me wrong that the system can't work if we're all prosperous. In economic class, listen, they teach that you got to keep people hungry, okay? Because it's well known at this point in history that we could end poverty tomorrow. But so now they got to teach people that no, we need them poor and hungry to spur innovation. I hear this coming from laymen. I was just over talking to my transmission mechanic. A whole nother story. I having transmission issues. He's a great mechanic and he's very reasonable priced. Really admire these guys. Everybody knows I've talked about mechanics, how much I like these guys and how they're intellectual they are. Greatest respect. These are the lifeblood, the backbone of America is these kind of people that can know that. They literally are the wheels of society. They keep us on the road. But this guy is very enlightened, very intelligent, but still he's got his blind spots, and I had to point them out to him. I don't look down on him, but we're all trained to believe this crap. We've all got to get over it. We've all got to understand how thoroughly duped we've